Hi, this is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and today we're going to be cooking a rack of pork ribs on my Masterbuilt Gravity Series 1050. Now, I have done some ribs before on this one, and I have done the smaller ones, but this one we're going to do one of the large racks, and it should take about 4 hours at somewhere around 250 degrees, maybe a little lower temperature if you like. Just remember that you'll want to spread that time out a little bit. On the larger ones, it does take just a touch longer than the smaller ones. On the smaller ones, I can almost always get them done to the tenderness that I like at 225 degrees or 230 in the 4-hour period. I don't want my meat to fall completely off the bone. If I wanted to get that result, I would probably shrink wrap them and cook them in the oven because they would be softer, and then I would grill them off either on this grill or on the propane grill just to get a little crisp on the outside. So we're going to start by talking about let's take a look at the ribs and talk about what I've done to them. So first thing that I did is that I peeled off the silver skin. On the back of all the ribs there will be a large portion of silver skin depending on what's exposed, and the way that I like to do it is I take a butter knife and stick it alongside of one of the bones, and when I push it along the bone underneath the silver skin, I kind of lift it, and then I put my finger in and work my finger all the way across the rack and slowly start pulling it off. If it does break or it comes loose or whatever, you're going to end up using a paper towel to hold on to the silver skin to peel it off. It's kind of hard to pick it off in little pieces, so it's better if you get it off in one big piece. So once you've gotten that off, then what I normally do is there's usually a little flap of skin, or not skin, of meat that runs across this way, and I trim that piece off, and looks like I missed a little bit of the fat here, but not going to worry too much about that. Oh, in the fireplace, and there it goes. But once you trim that off, you get a nice flat section, and that way you can work with it really well. Then I trim the corners up, so I square it out a little bit, and that meat is usually my snack. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adjust the temperature down because I'm just finishing off that right now. And I'm going to drop it to 245 because usually this smoker tends to run just a little warmer than that. Also, I want to make an effort to put the thicker side of the rack towards this smoker or the firebox, because also when the heat comes out, it does tend to be a little warmer on that side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I don't know if you can see there, but I've grilled off my snacks, and I'll be pulling those off. So let's do that first before we put the raw rib rack on there, because I don't want to cross-contaminate my food. I am super OCD about that. Temperature and contamination are two of my biggest things. So you see, I just basically grilled that off. I put a little bit of pepper and a little bit of the Spice Hunter Creole seasoning on there. We really love that stuff. I was going to put some smoked paprika, but I had already put it away, so I was like, okay, I'll skip it this time. So, I'm going to set these down. Again, no cross-contamination. I can put them in there and warm them up real easily, but they're plastic or silicone tip, and so I don't really want to overheat them. So, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to lay this down upside down in here. Now, if I'm trying to grill, I go for the bottom. If I'm smoking, I want to be in the middle, so that way I get the full exposure to the smoke, to the meat, and I keep it away from the grill just in case there is any flare-ups. So it's all positioned pretty well, and we're just going to let it go. So right now, that's pretty much all that there is to it. Now, today when I did this, I had emptied out the smoker completely, so the charcoal feed was completely empty, so I did start it with a couple of match lights. Last couple of times I've been using lighter blocks to start it. When you restart, the lighter blocks are actually easier, but I also just use a lot of paper towel or toilet paper rolls and just roll them up and slide them in there. And when you light them with a blowtorch, you know, as long as you're not in a big rush, they light up pretty well, and this thing just has a good airflow. You keep the doors open and it just burns right up into the charcoal. So when I did this today, I started with a couple of match light charcoal blocks down in the bottom, or charcoal briquettes, and then I laid around some of the charcoal briquettes around it and filled it up about 6 inches. Then I started entering in with the chunks of hardwood. And today, because I'm using pork ribs, I went ahead with the apple chunk. I would probably use a fruit wood for beef ribs also, but I do like mesquite the most out of all of it, but I have hickory and pecan. And pecan is just my favorite all-around wood in general. It just pretty much performs with just about anything. It is a little bit sweeter than the mesquite or the hickory, so I try to go towards the mesquite with a steak or a big roast, and definitely with a brisket. So we're just going to go ahead and let that run, and I'm going to eat my little snacks here while we're waiting, and I'll come back to you when it's time to flip. All right, we're just going to peek our head in here real quick. It hasn't been a full amount of time, but I noticed that I liked how it was smoking. You can see, if you look around here, you can see smoke coming out. It's not a tight seal. It's much more like a propane grill than like a traditional smoker, where there is a lot of airflow around, and the main vent is across the back. We'll see if I can show that to you. No, it's just part of the door assembly itself. But saw how much smoke just came out of there, and it is looking great. You can see that it's starting to pull a little bit of blood in there, and it's getting a little bit of red color too, which I really like. That's a good sign that it's picking up a lot of smoke. I'm not going to adjust the temperature quite just yet, but next time we'll bump it up a little bit, probably 30 degrees or so. So I'll see you then. All right, we're back, and it's time to flip these ribs. So the day has just gotten really nice. I was worried that we weren't going to be able to get any smoking done today because it was raining earlier, and then it just got nice and hot and sunny out. So just working out perfect. I have been doing a little yard work, so if you see grass in my hair, don't be surprised. That looks pretty good. There is a lot of blood coming to the surface, which is kind of what we expect. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that. Drop it down here, and then flip it over. Put it back up in there. Cooking up real nice, but it hasn't started to really break down yet. A lot of good smoke color in there, so there's a lot of red right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take a picture for you, so that way we can put that up there on the top. That is a nice looking piece of meat there. We'll go ahead and close that down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it at this temperature for another 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'm going to bump it up. After I bump the temperature up, then I'll start prepping my veggies, and I'm going to throw my veggies on there in a couple of veggie bags to a couple of the mesh bags that I talked about in one of my other videos. So anyway, I'll check back with you then. All right, now it's been a sufficient amount of time, and we're going to go ahead and check on it. And I'm pretty sure that they're ready. I've preheated the oven because dinner's not for a little while, and I want to just go ahead and set them in there on a lot lower temperature than what I can comfortably do out here. Now this is my favorite part of this thing. When you open it up, Nice clean smoke comes out. It's not all dirty or anything. There is a little bit of the grease that's burning off a little bit there. Part of that is that I did turn the temperature up just a little bit. I'm going to do that and set that right there. And just going to let it heat up a little bit more, and it'll clean itself off a little bit there. So before we go, I'm going to take a look and let you see this. And let's see if we can get that. How about right there? Looks perfect. It's just barely pulling away. You can see that the ends of the bone tips are starting to show there. It will sit in the oven for at least a half an hour because that's about when dinner time is. And so it'll pull away a little bit more and continue to finish cooking. But the color is great and just the right consistency. I don't like it, you know, I'm not really a mushy person. I like a little bit of bite in there. So if you like what you see here, check out the links below. There's all kinds of information on the website, including a review of the 1050 and a review of the 560. Both of these are readily available and you can order them. And something somebody asked me about was pricing and stuff. Some of your stores, you'll find that if you buy something that's this heavy, that they will charge you extra for. So make sure that you account for that. When I purchased this unit here, I paid an extra $75 in shipping because it was overweight. And when I say overweight, I mean it had to come on a regular freight truck where they used a lift gate, and I think that was the charge. But when you look at something like Amazon or something like that, they just, it's a flat price, so all the shipping is included in prime cost unless it says shipping extra. Yeah, so the links are below to the products and to the reviews, and check out the website. There's a lot of really good information on there. Everything from dry rubs for beef, for chicken, recipes on ribs and how to do it and different things. I am an electric smoker specialist. That's where I get most of my training from, is things like smoked salmon and electric smokers and smoked trout. I have a smoked salmon recipe on my website to die for. So check out the links below, and you have a great day.